Welcome to our deep dive on The Brutalist. It's generating a lot of buzz, and we're going to sort of uncover these fascinating details about the movie, the actors, and just the journey to bring it to life. So, yeah, you're in for a real treat, I think, with this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. This film kind of takes us on a journey through history and art, following László Toth, who is a Hungarian-Jewish architect and Holocaust survivor.
Hmm.
And he arrives in America in 1947,
Yeah,
seeking, a fresh start. But as we know, the past rarely stays buried, and a mysterious and wealthy client kind of enters the picture, promising to change László's life forever. So, it adds a layer of intrigue to the story.
yeah, definitely. Sounds like there's more to this client than meets the eye, right?
Definitely.
And then there's the whole controversy surrounding the use of AI in post-production, which we'll definitely get to later. But first, let's talk about the director, Brady Corbet, known for his artistic films like Vox Lux and The Childhood of a Leader, both of which were scored by the late musician Scott Walker, to whom The Brutalist is actually dedicated. So it seems like Corbett has a knack for kind of weaving music and these complex narratives together. What do you think?
I think so. And, it's fascinating how these creative connections kind of emerge. Corbett's interest in architecture also stems from a personal place. His uncle is an architect and studied at Taliesin West, which is, Frank Lloyd Wright's famed studio and school. And Corbett actually spent time there as a child, and you can imagine that must have had a profound impact on him. And get this. He and his partner, Mona Fastvold, who co-wrote the screenplay, spent 7 years developing this story.
Wow, 7 years.
That level of dedication really speaks volumes about their passion for this project.
Yeah, 7 years is a huge commitment to a project. Makes you wonder, about the evolution of the story and the characters over that time. Speaking of the story, can you give us a sense of László's journey and the structure of the film? How's it laid out?
Yeah, so it kind of unfolds in a multi-part structure, starting with an overture, which kind of sets the stage. And then we move into part one, the enigma of arrival, where we see László navigating this new life in Philadelphia. And, it's not all smooth sailing. He faces a lot of challenges, even dealing with addiction at one point. And then part two, the hardcore beauty, kind of dives deeper into his architectural pursuits and his reunion with his family and just, the complexities of the American dream. And then finally, we reach the epilogue, the first Architecture Biennale, where László's work receives recognition on a global stage.
Those titles alone are very intriguing. I'm especially drawn to the hardcore of beauty. It seems to hint at the idea that beauty can emerge from difficult experiences, even, trauma. And knowing that both László and his wife, Ertudet, are Holocaust survivors just adds another layer of complexity to their pursuit of the American dream, right?
Absolutely. They're carrying the weight of their past, while trying to build a future. So, it's really a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of bringing those complexities to life, let's talk about the incredible cast.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So we have Adrien Brody, who's an Oscar winner, plays László. Felicity Jones plays Ertudet. And Guy Pearce takes on the role of the enigmatic Harrison Lee Van Buren, the wealthy client.
The wealthy client.
Yeah, that we mentioned earlier.
And it's interesting how the casting actually came together. Originally, Joel Edgerton and Marion Cotillard were attached to the project.
Oh, wow.
But the roles eventually went to Brody and Jones. And clearly, Brody's performance as László, captivated audiences and critics alike, earning him his second Oscar.
A second Oscar.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm curious what made his portrayal so captivating. What were critics highlighting about his performance?
Critics have raved about Brody's ability to convey, László's inner turmoil. He embodies the character's, brilliance as an architect, his passion for his work, but also the deep scars left by the Holocaust.
Right.
There's this quiet intensity to his performance, a sense of, resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship.
Yeah.
So Brody's performance is truly, I think, what anchors the film.
It definitely sounds like a performance you don't easily forget.
Yeah.
And since the film is called The Brutalist, I have to ask about the visuals.
Right.
How does the film capture the essence of that architectural style?
Well, the filmmakers made some interesting choices, I think, to create a unique visual experience. They used the VistaVision process and Leica S lenses, which were commonly used in the 1950s. And this was done to capture the period's look and feel, so it's like stepping back in time. but it's not just about the technical aspects.
So they went for a classic aesthetic to kind of complement the brutalist architecture.
Exactly, yeah.
That's clever. I imagine the Van Buren Institute, László's the major project in the film, plays a significant role visually as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The Van Buren Institute is a striking example of brutalist design. And the filmmakers drew inspiration from various sources, including real-life brutalist structures, concentration camps, and even works by Frank Lloyd Wright and James Turrell.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's this fascinating blend of influences that reflect both László's artistic vision and his personal history.
Yeah, it sounds like a visual feast for architecture enthusiasts, for sure.
Yeah.
And how does the design of the Institute reflect, László's internal struggles?
Well, the building's starkness, its monumentality, and its use of raw concrete all kind of mirror the rawness of László's experiences. It's like his pain and the weight of his past are etched into the very structure itself. So the Institute becomes like a physical manifestation of his journey.
Yeah, that's such a powerful concept. And what about the music? What can you tell us about the score and how it enhances the film's emotional impact?
So the score is composed by Daniel Blumberg, who also collaborated with Corbett on the short film Yuto. What's so unique about this score is that it blends traditional instruments like piano, trumpet, and saxophone with sounds that are reminiscent of construction work.
Construction sounds.
Yeah, it's interesting. It creates this unexpected but incredibly effective soundscape that amplifies the film's emotional weight.
Wow, construction sounds, that's an unusual choice. But I can see how it would work with the brutalist aesthetic.
Yeah,
It must add a layer of rawness and intensity to the film.
definitely does, yeah. And here's a fun fact. The film's opening sequence was actually choreographed to Blumberg's early demos. So this unusual approach really highlights the collaborative nature of filmmaking and how sound and visuals can be so intertwined.
Yeah, that's a great example of how creative decisions can happen in these unexpected ways. It
Yeah.
sounds like they really pushed boundaries with this film, visually and sonically.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the controversy surrounding the use of AI.
Right, yeah.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the use of AI in The Brutalist sparked debate, particularly around its use in refining the Hungarian accents of Brody and Jones. And some felt it crossed a line. They were questioning the authenticity of the performances.
Yeah, that's understandable. It raises questions about the role of technology in art
Right.
and whether it enhances or undermines the creative process.
Yeah. Well, Corbett defended the use of AI, stating that it was a tool to enhance authenticity, not replace the actor's work. He emphasized that both Brody and Jones spent months working with a dialect coach, and that AI was simply used to fine-tune specific vowels and letters in post-production.
So it was more about refining the nuances rather than creating entire performances from scratch.
Exactly, yeah. But there were also conflicting accounts regarding the use of AI to generate architectural designs for the film's ending.
Oh, okay.
Some sources claimed it was used, while Corbett denied those claims. He stated that all images were hand-drawn by artists, so it
Okay.
remains a bit of a mystery.
A bit of a mystery. Well, it definitely adds to the intrigue surrounding the film. But despite the controversy, it sounds like The Brutalist has received significant critical acclaim, right?
It has, yeah, absolutely. Critics have been raving about it, praising the direction, screenplay, performances, cinematography, and of course the score. It boasts a 93% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a remarkable 90 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Those are impressive ratings.
Yeah.
Did this critical acclaim translate into any awards or nominations?
Oh, yeah, it did. The Brutalist was selected as one of AFI's top 10 films of 2024 and received numerous nominations for Critics' Choice Awards, Academy Awards, and Golden Globes.
Wow. It seems like The Brutalist was a major contender during award season. Did it manage to snag any wins?
It did. Adrien Brody won his second Oscar for Best Actor for his portrayal of László.
Wow.
Brady Corbet won for Best Director.
Wow.
And Daniel Blumberg's innovative score won for Best Original Score. So, yeah, it's safe to say The Brutalist left its mark on the film world.
3 Oscars. That's incredible. What a sweep. It's clear that The Brutalist resonated with both critics and audiences. I'm curious to hear more about the specific praise that it received.
Yeah. One critic called the film a visually stunning and emotionally resonant masterpiece.
Wow.
Another praised its exploration of the immigrant experience and the complexities of the American dream. So, it's clear that the film tackled these important themes in a way that resonated deeply with viewers.
It sounds like The Brutalist is a film that stays with you long after the credits roll.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a film that challenges you to think, to feel, and to confront these difficult aspects of history and human nature.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive,
We have.
but there's still so much more to explore.
Absolutely.
In the next part, we'll delve deeper into the characters, their relationships, and the emotional core of this really powerful story. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to our deep dive into The Brutalist.
It's great to be back. Last time we left off talking about the critical acclaim and, 3 Oscars the film won.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It really is. But awards aside, let's shift our focus to the heart of the story. The characters.
Yeah, the characters.
They're what makes this film so captivating and thought-provoking.
Yes. Let's dive into those complex characters, starting with our protagonist, László Toth. He's a Holocaust survivor, a brilliant architect, and a man grappling with some pretty serious inner demons. How do those different facets of his identity kind of play out in the film?
Well, László is a man shaped by unimaginable tragedy, yet driven by this powerful creative force. And he arrives in America seeking refuge and a chance to rebuild his life. But the trauma of the Holocaust continues to haunt him. It influences his relationships, his creative process, and his overall outlook on life.
It's fascinating how the film portrays those internal struggles. He's incredibly talented, determined to succeed, but also deeply wounded. He makes mistakes. He betrays those he loves, even falls into addiction at one point. It's a raw and honest portrayal of a man struggling to reconcile his past with his hopes for the future.
Yeah. And his relationship with Erzsébet, his wife, adds another layer of complexity. She's also a Holocaust survivor, but her journey kind of unfolds differently. We first see her confined to a wheelchair, a stark reminder of the war's physical and emotional toll. But she possesses incredible strength and resilience. And eventually, she finds her voice as a journalist and becomes this pillar of support for László, even when he falters.
Their relationship is both beautiful and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
They're bound by this shared trauma, this deep love for each other, but they also face immense challenges in their new life in America. It's a testament to their bond that they manage to navigate those challenges together, even when their dreams seem to crumble around them.
Yeah, and then there's Harrison Lee Van Buren,
Right.
the wealthy industrialist who becomes László's patron. He's initially presented as this sophisticated, almost charming benefactor. But as the story progresses, his true nature is revealed.
Yeah, I remember thinking he was almost too good to be true. It seems like the film is deliberately playing with our expectations, setting him up as this symbol of the American dream before exposing, the darkness beneath that facade.
Exactly. There's this underlying tension between Harrison's admiration for László's talent and his deep-seated prejudice towards him, as a Jewish immigrant. It's a chilling reminder of the hypocrisy and inequality that can exist even in a society that prides itself on, opportunity and progress.
And that tension comes to a head in a particularly disturbing scene where Harrison exploits László's vulnerability, really revealing the true extent of his predatory nature. It's a pivotal moment in the film, shattering any illusion of Harrison as this benevolent figure and forcing László to confront the harsh realities of his position in American society.
Yeah, that scene is so powerful because it highlights the complexities of power dynamics and how easily they can be manipulated, especially when prejudice is involved. It's a stark reminder that even in a land of opportunity, not everyone starts on equal footing.
And then we have Harrison's son, Harry Lee Van Buren. He's almost like László's antagonist,
Right.
constantly undermining him and representing, the entitled, arrogant side of the American elite.
It's fascinating how the film contrasts those two characters. László, who has known true suffering and loss, approaches life with a certain gravitas and humility, while Harry, on the other hand, is spoiled, entitled, and seemingly incapable of empathy. He represents a different facet of the American dream, one that's built on privilege and disregard for those less fortunate.
He's a constant thorn in László's side, questioning his talent, making inappropriate advances towards Zsofia, László's niece, and generally behaving like a petulant child. He embodies the kind of casual cruelty that can fester within privileged circles.
He does. And that dynamic between László and Harry highlights this clash between old world values and a more brash, materialistic American mindset. It's a battle for recognition, respect, and ultimately the right to define one's own legacy.
Speaking of Zsofia, she's a character who really resonated with me. Arriving in America traumatized and mute, she embodies the unspeakable horrors that many Holocaust survivors carried with them.
Yeah. Her silence is so powerful. It speaks volumes about the depth of her trauma and the difficulty of finding words to express the unimaginable. But as the film progresses, she gradually finds her voice, both literally and metaphorically. It's a beautiful arc of healing and resilience.
I found her journey incredibly moving. Despite the horrors she's witnessed, she manages to find love, start a family, and reclaim her agency. It's this glimmer of hope amidst the darkness and complexity of the film's themes.
It is. And it's Sophia who, in the film's epilogue, sheds light on the true meaning behind László's architectural masterpiece, the Van Buren Institute. She reveals that he deliberately designed spaces within the structure to resemble the concentration camps where he and his family were imprisoned.
Whoa, that's a mind-blowing revelation. It reframes our entire understanding of the building and László's intentions. It's like he's woven his traumatic memories into the very fabric of the structure, transforming pain into art, forcing viewers to confront a history they might rather forget.
That's precisely what makes this film so powerful. It doesn't shy away from difficult subject matter. It challenges us to think critically about the relationship between art, memory, and the human capacity for both immense cruelty and profound compassion.
And it does so through these complex, beautifully drawn characters. Each one brings a different perspective to the story, highlighting the multifaceted nature of the immigrant experience, the enduring legacy of trauma, and the power of the human spirit to persevere, even in the face of adversity.
You've hit the nail on the head. The Brutalist isn't just a historical drama. It's a deeply human story that explores universal themes of loss, resilience, and the search for meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and unjust. It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll.
And speaking of things that stay with you, let's circle back to that AI controversy for a moment.
Right.
While it sparked debate about the role of technology in art, it also highlighted something crucial: the importance of human stories and the emotional depth that only human actors can bring to a role.
Absolutely. AI might be able to generate images or refine accents, but it can't replicate the raw, visceral power of a human performance. The Brutalist reminds us that art, at its core, is a human endeavor. It's about connecting with our shared experiences, exploring our complexities, and finding meaning amidst the chaos. It's about empathy, vulnerability, and the power of storytelling to move us, challenge us, and ultimately make us feel more alive.
It sounds like The Brutalist strikes a perfect balance between its grand historical scope and its intimate portrayal of human emotion. It's both epic and deeply personal.
That's exactly right. And that's what makes it such a remarkable cinematic achievement.
This has been such an insightful discussion. I feel like we've barely scratched the surface, but we've covered so much ground already. I'm eager to hear what you have to say about the film's symbolism and its lasting impact on the cultural landscape in our final part.
I'm looking forward to it as well. There's still so much to unpack. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into The Brutalist. We've explored the film's, intricate plot, delved into the complexities of its characters, and now it's time to kind of uncover the symbolic layers that make this film so thought-provoking.
Yeah, The Brutalist is very rich with symbolism. It really invites us to look beyond the surface and delve into those, deeper meanings embedded within the narrative. It's like a tapestry, woven with these visual metaphors and recurring motifs that just enhance the film's emotional impact.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by symbolism in films. It's like a secret language that adds another dimension to the storytelling. What are some of the key symbols that stand out to you?
Well, the most prominent symbol is, of course, the Brutalist architecture itself.
Right.
Those stark, imposing structures, they're not merely backdrops. They become these reflections of the characters' inner lives, their struggles and aspirations.
It's interesting how the film uses like a real architectural style to convey such profound ideas. How do those brutalist buildings function as metaphors?
Well, the harsh lines, the raw concrete, the imposing scale of those structures all mirror the rawness of László's experiences. They represent the weight of his past trauma, the difficulty of forging a new life in a world that often feels very cold and unforgiving, but they also embody his artistic vision, his determination to create something lasting and meaningful out of the rubble of his past.
It's like the buildings themselves become characters in the story, each with its own unique personality and emotional resonance. And what about the Van Buren Institute?
Right.
László's masterpiece. How does its symbolism evolve throughout the film?
Yeah, well, the Van Buren Institute is initially presented as this symbol of László's ambition, his chance to make his mark on the American landscape. But as we learn more about its design, particularly the incorporation of elements that resemble concentration camps, it takes on a much darker and more complex meaning.
That revelation is truly haunting. It completely reframes our understanding of the building and László's intentions. What do you think he's trying to achieve by weaving his traumatic memories into the structure?
It's like he's trying to confront his past by, giving it this physical form, by making it visible and tangible. He's forcing himself and the viewers to acknowledge the darkness that underpins the shiny facade of the American dream. It's a powerful statement about the enduring legacy of trauma and the ways it can shape our lives and our art.
Yeah, it's also a reminder that history can't be easily erased or forgotten. It's embedded in our landscapes, in our buildings, and in our collective memory. And what about the recurring motifs of light and darkness in the film? How do those play into the symbolic language?
Yeah, the interplay of light and darkness is incredibly evocative in this film. Think about the way light filters through those stark, brutalist spaces. It creates these dramatic contrasts of shadow and illumination. It's visually stunning, but also deeply symbolic.
I remember those moments vividly. It's like the light represents these, fleeting glimpses of hope and beauty amidst the darkness and harshness of their reality.
Exactly. Light becomes this symbol of clarity, of connection, of those rare moments of peace and joy that László and Erzsébet experience. Darkness, on the other hand, represents the weight of their past, those shadows of trauma that linger, threatening to consume them. It's a visual representation of their internal struggles.
And then there's the color palette of the film.
Yep.
It's predominantly muted and desaturated, except for those occasional bursts of vibrant color. What do you make of that choice?
Well, the muted tones reflect the emotional numbness that László and Erzsébet carry with them. It's as if the trauma they've experienced has dulled their senses, making it difficult to fully experience joy or connect with the world around them. But then we have those moments of intense color, like the lush green landscape of the Italian countryside, or the warm glow of candlelight in László's studio. Those moments feel like these precious reminders of life's beauty, the possibility of healing and reawakening.
It's like the film is saying that even in the darkest of times, there are still glimmers of light, moments of grace that can sustain us and remind us of the beauty that still exists in the world.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. And it speaks to the film's overall message of resilience and hope. Despite the horrors they've endured, László and Erzsébet find ways to create, to love, and to find meaning in their lives. It's a powerful testament to the human spirit.
The Brutalist operates on so many levels. It's a historical drama, a love story, an exploration of trauma and resilience, and a meditation on the power of art. And the symbolism adds another layer of depth, inviting us to engage with story on this, visceral, emotional level.
Yeah, it's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll. It challenges you to think critically, to feel deeply, and to confront difficult aspects of history and human nature. And it does so with this visual richness and symbolic depth that are truly remarkable.
Speaking of its impact, what kind of conversations do you think The Brutalist is sparking in the wider cultural landscape?
Well, for one, it's reignited discussions about the role of AI in art.
Right.
And the ethical considerations that come with using this technology. It forces us to question where we draw the line between artistic expression and technological manipulation.
It's a conversation that's only becoming more relevant as AI technology advances. The Brutalist reminds us that art should be a human endeavor, a reflection of our creativity, our emotions, and our unique perspectives.
Precisely. And beyond the AI debate, the film is also prompting conversations about the immigrant experience, the legacy of trauma, and the power of art to heal. It's a story that resonates with anyone who has ever felt like an outsider, who has grappled with the weight of their past, or who has found solace and expression through creative pursuits.
It's a film that encourages empathy, understanding, and a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the human experience. It's a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit can endure and even thrive.
And that art can be a powerful tool for healing, for connecting with others, and for finding meaning in a world that can often feel chaotic and overwhelming.
This deep dive has been such a rewarding journey. We've uncovered so many layers of meaning within The Brutalist, from its, intricate plot and compelling characters to its rich symbolism, thought-provoking themes.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure exploring this film with you, and I encourage our listeners to continue the journey. Seek out the film, its score, read the reviews, engage in conversations about it. Let the power of The Brutalist resonate within you.
Well said. And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Show your thoughts, your reactions, your interpretations. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, keep diving deep.